Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of In Between the Stitches. As always, I am your host, Brady Wilson, with my co-host, Chase Olschwanger.
Nice to have you back.
It is very nice to be back. Obviously, we couldn't have an episode last week. We were both just not able. I was obviously, I think, Wednesday, where would I have been? Heading to Coco Cay, so I think I was almost in the Atlantic Ocean. So just wasn't able to, I think you had some scheduling conflicts, so we just weren't able to get an episode out to you guys last week. So we're going to have to do a little bit of a kind of a hodgepodge, a smushed together episode
A little
today.
2-week recap.
Yeah, to try to recap some of the stuff that's been happening. The Dallas Stars are still rolling. They're 11-6. Matt Dumba has not been the most productive player, but I think it's Labushkin that's been really good play. He's been really good. There's been a couple other players that have been really good. I mean, Duchesne is just a monster. This team is continuing to roll. Obviously, the team, they're rolling, man. I mean, we're third in the Central, which would be, we are sixth in the West, but it's still really early. Winnipeg has just gotten out to a blazing start.
Yeah.
But it's still November. We haven't got to Thanksgiving yet. We haven't got to Christmas yet. We're still so early into the season, and we will continue to update as we go along. But the Mavericks have been, I don't want to use the word disappointing, but I think that's the word I'm thinking of. They've just been disappointing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'd say so. Not living up to the expectations we thought to start, but I will say in their defense, starting out the season, 3-1 start, good start, and then you come back and you lose, you go to 5-3, and then you lose 4 straight.
Right.
And in that 4-game span, you weren't healthy. PJ missed every one of those games, and he's a big big component to this team. Not only on the offensive side of the ball as a fourth, fifth option to score, whatever it is, right? But he's going to be one of the best defenders on the floor as well, and that's a big deal when it came to this Mavericks 4-game losing streak. When out of the 4 games that they lost, from going from 5-3 to 5-7, they lost all 4 games by a combined 8 points. Each game came down to the wire, and they weren't able to pull out any of them. And that's not going to be something that's, that's going to be a common occurrence. This Mavs team has 2 of the best closers in all of basketball. And in one of those games, the final game versus the Jazz that they lost, Kyrie didn't play, a pregame mishap, and he just had to miss the game. So it really, really unfortunate. But then as the team got healthy, PJ came back, Kyrie came back, Luka was fine. Now they're on a 3-game winning streak. They're back over 500 at 8-7. So now that the team is healthy, hopefully they can stay healthy. And I think that it's only going to go up from here.
Yeah. Obviously the injuries have been a struggle. And then, some of your stars have kind of struggled when they've been on the floor. So hopefully he had a rout last night, I believe it was.
So yeah, we won by 41.
131, like 91. It was something crazy.
Yeah.
Definitely Mavs just, again, we've just said with the Stars, it's not even Thanksgiving yet.
Yeah, it's 15 games in. They've been beat up. They're still over 500 record, and not to mention losing 4 straight, all on 1-possession games. But they did go into OKC without Luka and won, and that's a big deal. You can go into the number 1 seed in the West, into a playoff atmosphere, without your best player, and still find a way to win the game. That's a big. It shows that this team is still competent even without their best player. So when you add him back, which he came back last night, you win by 41.
Right. So people calling, I think, for these drastic changes like Jason Kidd needs to be fired or something like that. No. Give us some time. Obviously, I think if the Mavs miss the playoffs with this roster, Kidd may be definitely on a very hot seat. But we'll have to see. We have to trust that the front office and that Kidd are going to be able to right the ship. So is that it for basketball? I think. I mean,
the more I watch these games, the more I see the team meshing together better.
Takes some time.
There's 3 new key players to this team.
Yeah.
1 starter, 2 guys off the bench that have a good amount of minutes, with Najee and Grimes off the bench, and then Clay obviously as your starter. So that's going to take time, and especially for Clay, who's playing well. He had his worst game versus OKC as a Mav. We still find a way to win that game. Yeah. And it comes out blazing last night. 10 points in the first quarter, ends with 20. A great game. But especially for Clay, coming as the second option for his entire career. Well, I guess until Durant came to Golden State. but always as that second guy mainly. Now he's that third guy who really doesn't need to be on ball as much with the facilitating of Luka and Kyrie, but he still does a little bit. But it's that's a big difference, and you're coming to a whole new team, a whole new franchise, a whole new city. That's going to take time.
Yeah,
and you just got to find a way to win these games, and keep yourself afloat, and eventually you're going to get things to go the right way.
I think the biggest difference from this year's team between last year's team is that Najee has been a suitable replacement for I would say Derrick Jones Jr.
Oh, he's been way better,
but the big one has been Grimes over Tim Hardaway Jr. has been just a drastic change you can see when you're watching these games. But if that's it for basketball, we got some baseball stuff to talk about. It is award season. There's been a lot of debate over the manager of the year. No one's really going to usually debate. Stephen Vogt obviously went for Cleveland, so I feel pretty happy because that was like one of my guys. The second he retired, I said, this guy's going to be a great manager. When they hired him, I said, this guy's going to be a great manager. So I feel very vindicated as a baseball person right now. And then Pat Murphy won it for the Brewers, and I think he definitely deserved it. I probably would have voted for Schilt just because of where the Padres were so up and down. Their owner passes away, him to come in there with that stability. But obviously Pat Murphy deserved it.
Both leagues.
Both leagues, I would say, very much deserved. But then you get to Rookie of the Year, and there's been a lot of debate over both winners, and even some of the people that have been nominated for this, who were finalists, who I'm looking for. Obviously, no one's really going to fight Paul Skeens. Even though if I were to call my dad right now, he'd be able to give us about a half-hour tirade about how Jackson Merrill deserved it over Paul Skeens. The main argument he gave me was Merrill was up the entire year. Merrill was an infielder that moved to the outfield and was a near Gold Glover in the outfield. Skeens was up a portion of the year.
Came up in what May?
I think May. So I think Merrill got an extra month and a half over Skeens. But I tried to explain to him, look, I like Merrill, but Skeens is a superstar. Even though I think he's probably not going to last till the end of the next year because of his arm, but I right now he's one of the biggest stars in baseball, and he's a lot of fun to watch. He's one of those guys that if you see him, and you hope that the days he starts doesn't conflict with your team because you want to be able to watch him. And that's definitely someone I haven't had in a little while. But the big contentious one, especially for us as Rangers fans, is. Oh gosh, who won it? Gil won it.
Yeah,
Gil won it for the Yankees. For a second, I was like, wait, was it Kowser? But the other nominees or finalists were Colton Cowser of the Orioles and Austin Wells of the Yankees. And if you look at Wyatt Langford's numbers, he has better numbers than all three of them. I know it's hard pitcher hitter, but he has better numbers than Wells because Wells isn't that much of a hitter. But it's oh my gosh, he was such a good defensive player. So is Langford, and he's a 5-tool. He's a 5-tool player. Wells is not a 5-tool player. Kowser, he had more home runs. That's what got, and he was on a more marquee team this season in terms of how successful they were in the regular season. Langford, and I think the biggest thing was Langford had this narrative the first 2 months of the year where he struggled, and not even struggled. He didn't hit for power. Right, his first home run was a while into the season. And it was an inside the Parker. So it took him a little while to get that first over-the-fence home run. But, I mean, the guy hit a cycle in Baltimore right in Colton Cowser's face. I mean, this guy was an unbelievable player. His ability, not just with the bat, to hit for average, to hit for good power numbers. He was clutch. If you needed a big hit, he never looked too big for the moment. He was able to stay very even-keeled during the year. He was a great fielder. He made several plays that were just unreal. But I think the most fun part of his game, just for me personally, is his base running. To know that any ground ball he's got a chance to beat out, to watch the infielder know he has to rush his throw to first base because Langford could beat it out. Stretching singles into doubles, stretching doubles into triples, stretching a triple into a home run. I mean, this guy was just unbelievable to watch in the base pass. I mean, he's a legitimate 30-30. If he goes, ape for a season, 40-40, he's got that kind of power and speed. This guy, I don't know why he wasn't a finalist. If they didn't want to give it to him, okay, fine.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to hop in and say, I don't think he should have won. I don't
Gil.
disagree with winning it, but I do think he should have been a finalist.
Over Wells. Cowser should have been a finalist too, but I think it should have been Cowser, Langford, and Gill. I don't think it should have been Wells, but because they were a World Series team and they were one of the best teams, they're the best team in the American League, he gets the marquee name.
Yeah.
We don't. I mean, if the Rangers were a 92, 93 win team and won our division, guess what? Langford probably would have finalist.
Going back to basketball, kind of brings the point of Luka in the MVP last year.
Yeah.
Easily the best player in the league last year. Average wise, not obviously numbers wise, but like we were the 5 seed. Jokic was the 2 seed. And they didn't become a 5 seed until the second half of the year when they made the trade. So it's like that voter fatigue kind of. Yeah. But obviously Langford doesn't have that right now. He's a rookie. But you know what I mean.
It's simply for Langford. I hope guess what? He's going to come out next year. He's going to be great. So I'm happy.
MVP next year.
Josh Smith won the Silver Slugger for the utility position. Very much deserved it. Was arguably our best hitter last year, which was kind of funny to say. I thought we had another guy win an award, unless I'm just completely blanking. No, we had a couple finalists, but Josh Smith won it for
I think
Silver
Simeon
Slugger.
and Seager were there for Silver Slugger at the position.
Yeah, and then I think we had another Gold Glove finalist, but whatever.
Just a down year.
Obviously, we lose Will Venable. He's joining the White Sox, which I think we've talked about, but it just kind of is like it hurt because my prediction can never come true now. The one that I made, like 2 years ago, but now I've made a new prediction that everyone can see, and that is that Skip Schumacher is probably the next manager of the Rangers. And he's just going to be working with Chris Young just to get ingrained into what the Rangers seem to have built a culture and a system, and they want Schumacher to be in that system for a little while to understand how they run things, and so I like it. The other big couple things, number one, Roki Sasaki got posted, and the biggest thing is, and people need to realize this isn't to do with money. It has nothing to do with money. Because of his age, he's not eligible for a big contract. It comes from your international bonus pool money. So you can't be really out. You can be outbid, but it's like $1 million or $1.5 million, $2 million. It's not like it's Yoshinobu Yamamoto getting $300+ million from the Dodgers.
But he gets to pick where he goes.
He gets to pick where he goes.
So why would he not go to the Dodgers?
Number one, why do you want to go somewhere where you can't really build your own legacy? You'll just be seen as a piggyback off of Ohtani and Yamamoto.
Right, but that might be a big deal for him going to his culture.
It's a big deal, but it's one of those. This is my pitch. If I'm in the other 29 other teams, if I'm the Rangers, for example, because that was my Twitter buddy Michael Byer posted this on there. He was like, "Hey, what's your elevator pitch? What's your pitch to Roki Sasaki?" And I was like, "Well, my pitch is first. Why do you want to go somewhere where you're just going to be seen as a piggyback? You're going to be seen as a sidekick over there. You're not going to be seen as a star. You're going to be seen as, well, he went there because Ohtani and Yamamoto, they're the big stars. You're just going to be seen as piggybacking off of them. Why don't you come here? We've got Bruce Bochy. You can learn from one of the best pitching coaches in baseball, and Mike Maddox. Also, why do you want to go to a place where all their pitchers get hurt? I'm just saying, for me, all their pitchers are getting hurt every year. And look at our pitchers. Our pitchers are getting hurt, but they're veteran pitchers. Their young guys are getting hurt. We can develop you into a true major league ace. I would promote the fact that we have probably one of the best facilities in all of baseball. That we are a team coming off of 1 year removed from a World Series team, needing another ace behind Jacob deGrom. You're going to be behind Jacob deGrom. I'm just saying, it feels like, yes, the Dodgers are the obvious, oh my gosh, he should go there, but he would have to choose the Dodgers. It wouldn't be because they can outbid us or the Dodgers. I mean, I want him desperately. I mean, I would
love him too, but I don't see how realistic it is.
Very realistic. I don't think, from reports I'm hearing, the Dodgers aren't the biggest lock that everyone thinks they are. Because it's an obvious lock, right? But just because it's obvious doesn't mean
I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction right now.
What?
Red Sox.
For Roki? I want to predict us because I want to manifest that into the universe. I've actually been saying I think Soto's going to go to the Red Sox if he leaves New York, which would be awesome for the rivalry.
I don't think he will. Well, let me rephrase, actually. I don't think he's going to leave New York.
You think Mets, maybe?
I think Mets.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Soto's going to be interesting to see, but the Rangers haven't really done much in terms of signing anybody. I think this is kind of the same thing as last year, which kind of makes it boring in my opinion, which is everyone's so focused on Soto that I feel like Blake Snell could sign and be like, oh, Blake Snell signed, that's cool. But back to the Juan Soto watch. Same thing with Ohtani last year. But the other big baseball news before we move on to football is that the Hall of Fame ballot got released. And I actually have to get there for a second.
I think the only three that I know Kinsler was on there, but I want to say the only three that I think were really deserving was Ichiro, Felix, and
okay.
Who else was there?
So if you look at the ballot, I was talking to my dad last night, and I've already come up with my 10. I like to vote for 10, and I actually have 10 that I'd vote for, and one of them is Ian Kinsler, because I actually did it. I did it. I had 9. I had 9 guys I wanted to vote for. And when I have an extra spot, and if I was a writer, I would vote for Kinsler because he's my favorite player of all time, and he deserves a vote. Is he a Hall of Fame player? No, but I still would love to vote for him. Whatever. I'm in favor of voting for guys that are not. It's one of those. This is where my logic is at. I'm in favor of voting for somebody who is not worthy, but you love them enough to vote for them.
Sure.
Over not voting for somebody because you hate them. You know what I mean? I think the first one, because you like a player is a good reason to just, he's not going to get in. Looking at my 10, I would vote for Andrew Jones being one of them. Ian Kinsler already said him. Andy Pettit, because I think if you put Mussina in, Pettit should go in, but he's not really getting the support. I think he's going to be a Veterans Committee ad. I think the players that played with him are going to put him in. I would hold my nose and vote for A-Rod. I would vote for probably Chase Utley, Billy Wagner, definitely. But the 3 newcomers that I would vote for, Ichiro's a lock.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't know, fun stat about Ichiro, he is the all-time world hits leader. You take his if you take his hits from Japan and you take his hits from America, he has more than Rose. I would vote for CC. Because I think
that's what it was, CC. Yeah,
I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
You look at some of his numbers: 250 career wins, 3,000 career strikeouts. Definitely a Hall of Fame resume. And then I really think Felix Hernandez. I really do. And I know those
are my 3.
If you take out those last 3 years from Felix, his numbers look a ton better. The last 3 years of his career, he was terrible, right? It was just that every year before that, he was one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball. And the only reason he didn't get a lot of wins is because he was stuck on those awful Mariner teams of the late 2000s, early 2010s, right? They were just terrible teams for Felix. And he was the one good player on them. So those would be the players I'd vote for. I think Wagner's going in this year. I think it definitely is going to be at least a 2-man class. I don't know what veterans committees are up yet. I won't know that to the winter meetings early December. But I definitely think that Wagner's going in because he was at 3 votes shy last year. I think he gets those votes. I think we move right from one election cycle to the next election cycle. Yay. And I think Ichiro goes in. I think CC may take a year or 2. I hope not, because I don't think first ballot Hall of Famers, I don't think that means much to me. I've always said this. You're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. I don't give a crap if it's your first ballot or your 10th ballot. If you're in, you're in. In my opinion, there shouldn't be a prestige on first ballot Hall of Famers. Anyway, that should be your baseball news. I can't think of anything else. Bregman wants an unreal. He wants apparently Scott Boras wants Alex Bregman to get an 11-year, $350 million contract or something in that neighborhood, which is absurd. He's not worth that much money. I don't even know if he's worth $200 million a year. I mean, he's a good player who's pretty solid across the board. He's a borderline all-star nowadays. He's not an MVP anymore. He's a borderline all-star. And that's not Astro bias coming out. That's just what I believe about Alex Bregman. I think that's it for baseball. We will move forward. We have, a bunch of meetings coming up. We have free agency, and we'll continue to update on those things. But we move to football. Yay. Everyone loves football.
I love it right now, actually. I love it.
Yeah, because you want us to lose.
Of course.
Which is the worst mentality ever. But it's just
I hate doing it. I hate it. I hate watching. This is the first time I can really sit back and really remember. Even in 2020, I didn't because we were better in 2020. But this is the first time where I can really be where it's like, wow, I really want us to lose, and it's hard. I really hate rooting for other teams against us. But
anyway, before we get to the NFL, I do want to get to college because the college football playoff brackets are being released now because the committees actually they start voting week 9, week 10.
Mm-hmm.
So as it stands right now, this was done yesterday by ESPN. Here is what the bracket would look like. The first round would be number 12 ranked BYU or number 12 seed. Would this be seed or ranked? Okay, the 12 seeded Brigham Young versus 5 seeded Ohio State. The winner of that game would then play the 4 seeded Boise State Blue Turf Broncos. Right? They are the Broncos. I'm not wrong there.
Yep.
I don't want to get the mascot wrong. Sorry, my cruise. I completely the only sports I watched on my cruise were the one Cowboy game. That was it against the Eagles. So I want to give a preference. If my sports brain seems off today, it's because I'm still getting back in the sports groove. I need to get another cycle of games in. Then the next, you'll see the 9-seeded Alabama Crimson Tide versus 8-seeded Notre Dame. The winner of that game will face 1-seeded Oregon. Then the next one is 11-seeded Georgia versus 6-seeded Penn State. Winner of that game will face 3-seeded Miami. 10-seeded Ole Miss would face 7-seeded, and who the hell saw this one coming, Indiana. And the winner of that game will face your number 2-seeded UT Longhorns. And it goes from there. Winner of the Boise State-Oregon game, semifinals, Miami, Texas. So that's your current bracket as it stands right now.
I'm so excited for the new format to actually watch it.
And the only team that gets screwed, when I say screwed, I mean like that's ranked, actually, yeah, because Tennessee, who's ranked 11th, would miss.
But Georgia.
And then SMU would miss, even though they're ranked 13th ahead of BYU. SMU, it's probably going to be SMU, Miami in the ACC championship game.
Mm-hmm. So
whoever wins that gets in. The good thing about Boise here is the fact that if they're in the top 12, they're not stealing a spot. Because that's been the thing is, it'll be the top 11 teams gets into the playoffs, and then the 12th team is just the highest ranked group of 5 champion. Well, if Boise State's already in the top 12, then there isn't a team getting robbed in that regard. I hope Notre Dame keeps losing because I don't think Notre Dame should be in. But that's just me.
I mean, one more loss and they're done.
Yeah, which makes me happy. But if you look at the rest of the rankings, A&M at 15, Colorado 16, Clemson, South Carolina, Army, Tulane, Arizona State, shout out Keith Abney, Iowa State, Missouri, 25 is Illinois, and 24 is UNLV. With that high.
Where'd you say Georgia?
They're at 10.
Okay.
In the rankings, but because of how the playoffs would work, they moved to 11.
Okay. I think I missed it.
This is the bracket projection right now. So that's your college football update. As we continue to move on, this is the Week 13 update. So we've only got a few more weeks left in the season, and then actually, because the playoffs start in December. 2. So 2 more weeks, and then we get a conference championship round, and then we get the playoffs, which should be the best football we should be seeing. That's why the Cowboys aren't making me as sad, because I have good football to watch in addition to the Cowboys being awful. Chases over the last 2 weeks. We tied last week, and the week before that he got 2 more on me, so it's effectively over. But we keep doing it because it's fun.
What is the overall record?
I think you're +8. So if you want overall record, I do it at the end of the year. I know what you're up.
Okay.
But the Cowboys have not. I mean,
don't even be mad anymore.
Yeah, I am mad. I hate losing. I don't care. The number 1 overall pick should not be something you should celebrate. I don't care if you're getting Andrew Luck or Trevor Lawrence at the time, or I don't care who you're getting. Being the number 1 overall pick means you were the worst team in the league. I don't ever want to be the worst team. I don't ever want to have the number 1 overall pick. But it's one of those, and I've told you about this. Right now, I'm going to be kind of a sour about it all. And then the second the season's over and I look at where we are and be, yay, we have. Once I start doing my draft prep in January, February, then I'll be, ooh, wow, we had the top 6 pick or whatever.
The only reason I'm excited is because the team isn't bad. That's the problem.
Yeah,
you add
coaching is horrible.
You're hopefully going to add new coaching next year, all across the board.
Whoa. Keep Al Harris.
Outside of Al Harris. Promote him to DC for all you I care. I don't think he's ready for DC, but if he was promoted, I wouldn't be mad.
If you promote him to DC, hire a defensive coach then.
Sure.
Belichick.
Right.
Vrabel.
Hopefully there's new coaching and people get healthy, and then you add just some pieces that you need, and then you're right back in it, and you have a top pick. So that's where I'm happy, is because the team, I know next year, as long as everybody's healthy and there's new coaching staff, there's whatever, I think the team will be good again. So this is why, okay, you know what, this year, it's a wash. Team's terrible. Move on. Come back next year.
I agree with you. I just am I always get in the in-season mentality where every week I hate losing. The second the season's over, I will join you in the happy parade about losing. While we're losing, I'm not happy that we're losing. Once the losing is over, then I'm happy we lost because I've gone through it. Now I get the top pick, right? That's my mentality on it, and no one can disagree with me on that. I swear to God, if Jerry hires like Marvin Lewis, or because it was something he was considering last time, or I could see him hiring Hugh Jackson. Or just make Zimmer the head coach, which would make me cry.
Hugh Jackson, please.
The problem is Jerry doesn't seem to like to hire the first-time head coaches. Ever since Jason Garrett, ever since there's been one coach in Jason Garrett.
Talks about Witten.
God, no, please. The people have asked me, Brady, because people like my opinion on things. When I tried to save it for this, why do you think about Dion? I don't know how to accurately put into words my disgust and hatred for that move if it were to take place. Dion was pretty successful at Jackson State, yippee-ki-yay. He's been kind of successful at Colorado, had a terrible season last year, has had a good one this year. I want to see what he can do when he doesn't have his quarterback being his son, Travis Hunter. Can he recruit real talent? Can he coach up real talent? Yeah, if we draft Shedeur and sign Dion, I will never switch allegiances, but it would be very hard to continue on as a Cowboy fan at that point. Yeah, I wouldn't be happy. Nope. Would not be very happy with that move.
If we were somehow able to trade up and get 2 first-round picks, then go Genti and Shedeur, I'd be pretty happy.
No, you're not. No. That's terrible. I don't care. No. Give me 5 Ashton Gentis, but if you give me Shedeur Sanders, I'm not happy. No. Keep him as far. You know what? I hope the Eagles draft him. I really hope the Eagles draft Shedeur Sanders. I think that'd be a great move for their franchise. Yeah, I am kind of increasingly looking at potentially going offensive line. That's kind of where I keep looking at for that. If you can get Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks, top tackle in the draft potentially, because everyone's going to want to go skill guys. Let's say you get the 6th or 7th pick, and the first 4 or 5 guys are skill, whether it's quarterback, whether it's running back, whether it's not running back, whether it's receiver or corner or somebody else.
They're running back, maybe.
Give me tackle. Because people have pointed to the Lions. Well, they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. Yes. After they built the best offensive line in football. Right now, you have a broken down Zach Martin, a turnstile Terrence Steele, a rookie center who's played well, and I think will make more leaps next season when we get a new freaking O-line coach. Your left guard and your center, I'm not worried about. The guy playing left tackle, I think right now, should probably be playing right tackle. Give me Kelvin Banks or Will Campbell. Kick Guyton to right tackle where he was successful in college. Make him your left tackle, whoever you draft your left tackle. And please, either sign one, something, get a right guard. I don't think it's going to be Zach Martin. I think he's done. I just do. I hate it. He's been my favorite Cowboy my entire life, and I hate it. But you're going to have to probably replace Martin at right guard. So you've built up the O-line first before you start trying to get a running back. It doesn't matter who you have your running back if you can't block. So I am increasingly build up the trenches because you're going to need it. It's how you built your offensive line in the 2010s. You invested 3 first-round picks in your offensive line. You need to do it again. You've gotten your left guard. You've gotten a tackle. You need to get another tackle, I think, my personal opinion. And you found your center. So, yay, you just need to try to find 2 more spots on your offensive line, which is nice. And you're going to have a top pick. Please, go please don't be an idiot and go Genty at 6.
Okay, listen. Okay, real quickly, would you really be that mad if they took Genty at 6?
Over if Campbell or Banks were on the board, yeah, I'd be mad. I wouldn't be very happy.
I wouldn't be. I wouldn't
be.
I wouldn't. If I'm for joy if we draft him.
Then who's blocking for him? You may as well have me out there trying to.
That's what you use your second, third round picks on.
Then who's catching balls next to Lamb?
Listen, I really do think it is a deep class though.
Now you see the problem.
I do think it is a deep class.
This is where the Cowboys the Cowboys are not a good team. They just have enough star players to think you're a good team because you've got Micah, Diggs, and Bland on defense. On offense, you've got Dak and CD. So it makes you think you've got a good team, but when you really examine it, you're really top heavy. A bunch of superstar players, but when you actually get to the other positions, they're crappy. Yeah, I mean they're bad. You've got to figure out a plan for those other positions. You're probably going to be needing 2 offensive linemen going into this offseason and a number 2 receiver and you probably could have got one in the 4th round, but oh no, you traded that pick for Jonathan Mingo. Yay. You feel good about tight end. You are probably going to need another piece on the interior because Osa is probably going to be gone.
Sucks. Looks like our only D lineman doing anything.
You're going to need to figure out edge because D-Law is aging, and if Micah gets hurt, my God, you've seen how bad that is. Obviously, we have Williams and Nealand, but they're both hurt, so figure out something. Linebacker looks pretty secure, at least one of the spots at linebacker because of Overshown. But I think if you brought in a guy like Belichick, because I think this is how Belichick runs his defense. Corner, you feel pretty good about your 3 starting corners, but when one of them gets hurt, you're looking at Amani Oruwariye or Andrew Booth out there. That's a problem. Carson. Okay, never mind, Kalen Carson. You're probably going to need a safety because Malik Hooker has been kind of bad. Donovan Wilson has been bad. They've been guys that have been good in the past, but this year they have not shown they can be good, and that is a problem. Thankfully, you will not be needing a kicker or a kick returner or a punt returner because you've got all those things.
Or a punter. I don't know how old Anger is right now.
Or probably a punter. But the problem is that you are going to need a lot of things. And because they're the Cowboys, they're not going to sign any free agents. If we would just, Chase, give me 2 free agents. 2 free agents, and you could fix. Then look at the draft. I'm okay. Building to the draft is how you build a good football team. You build your foundation in the draft. But then you build the rest of it through free agency or trades. And they're not doing it, Chase. Other people that are listening to this, they're not doing that. You are going to have a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, no 4th because
they traded.
No, Chase. I can't do a Jerry accent. I don't even want to try. Chase, Cowboy fans, our 4th round pick is Jonathan Mingo. We think that's a good value for him. You're probably going to have 2 5ths, I think 2 6ths, maybe. I don't know what you've traded. Point is, you're going to have like 7, 8, 9 picks. You've got to hit on all 9 of them because you're going to need 2 offensive linemen, another receiver, at least 1 running back, if not 2 running backs. You need probably 2 more off defensive linemen, probably 2 safeties. You're already at 8. You've got issues that you need. Are you doing a mock draft right now?
No.
Okay, I thought you were doing.
I was just checking something real quickly. On my fantasy.
I thought you were doing a mock. I'm like, that's. Actually, I may look at one right here just to see what kind of draft picks we do have. You are going to have right now. We're projected to have the 9th overall pick, and per PFF, we're projected to have.
9th is just too high.
Right now, we're projected to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 picks of 4 comps because you lost a lot of free agents last season. Let me look at this board, Chase. Number 9th overall pick. There's Will Campbell and Kelvin Banks. I mean, I'm doing victory laps.
I don't think Banks falls that far though.
I'm doing, if one of those guys falls to us, I'm doing freaking victory laps in the studio wherever we're doing our draft show from. Because, now I haven't watched them yet, but I've watched some of their games and never noticed a problem where they were playing. So clearly, I think something's going on that's good there. Yeah, I haven't watched them yet. I don't know if they're going to be, if they're as good as Joe Alt from last year, Alt to me is like laboratory built to be a franchise.
I'm not sure.
tackle.
I've had a lot of eyes on Banks, and I told you before. My friend who was a walk-on at Texas, when Banks first came in as a freshman, he told me he watched him. He was perfect as a freshman, and you couldn't get by him from the second he stepped in the Texas facility. So
We gotta hope he can do that here potentially. I'm all in favor of beefing up the O-line right now, and then going to second and third rounds, going running back and receiver.
yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that. If
'cause
it's Amari and Hampton, Dylan Sampson.
I'm definitely more on the Le'Veon. See, the thing is I think you can find good value.
I'll wait for you to watch your film on everybody, and then I'll have you come back and be like, okay,
yeah.
Hampton and
It's
Sampson.
the draft show. We'll do our draft stuff, and I'll be doing it. I want to put more of an emphasis on this show on my draft stuff that I do each week. Right now, having watched some college football, Damian Martinez and Le'Veon Moss would be just. I mean, you could get those guys day 3, and I feel like you fixed your running game. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to get Genty. I love Ashton Genty, and if we got him, I'm not mad if we get him. It's just that I think it's a dumb way to build your team to try to get the skill guy
But wait a
before
minute,
you build
dumb
up.
way to build your team. So you're saying that Genty is actually there's a good shot at it.
Yeah, because it's the Cowboys. No, I don't think it's not dumb drafting Genty. It's dumb drafting a running back in the first round
Top 10 pick.
when you're trying to build. That's just it, Chase. If you were at picks 15, 16, because you just had, if Dak had got hurt and your roster was able to kind of, almost make the playoffs like in 2020 when you had the 10th pick, you traded back to 12th. So let's say you did that again. You had the 10th pick, traded back to 12th, and then you got Genty. Sure, because it's then more of a luxury pick. But right now, you don't have good guys blocking for him. When the Lions in that draft, Chase, what did they do right after drafting? I think it was like Jack Campbell and Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round. What did they do in the second, third round? Do you remember who they drafted?
No, I don't.
Sam Laporta and Brian Branch.
Oh,
They hit.
Yes,
if
I do.
they miss on those 2 picks, then that Jahmyr Gibbs pick looks, even though Gibbs is so good, they're like, wow, Lions aren't as good. Lions have hit really well in the draft. And you can say they've hit in the draft, but they've been able to develop the players they drafted into really, really good ones.
and you're not running Gibbs into the ground.
That's just it. Me, you, and
50%
Seth
snap share.
we were talking about this just the other day. Where we were talking about the Thunder and Lightning thing is the way of the future for the NFL, and you've to keep your running backs fresh, which is why I think keep Rico, draft somebody maybe in the 3rd, and then like the 6th or 7th, get another guy.
Oh yeah, I have no problems with Rico. I think he's a fine backup running back. I think he's got a lot of.
I think he's
big
a
play
I
ability.
I think he's at his best an above average starter. On his best day, he's an above average starter. Was it the Steeler game?
I think it was the Steeler game. How do we win that game?
Dak. I told you, Dak.
I know.
Dak willed us. Dak and like that Jalen Dolbert catch willed us to victory in the defense.
Looking at it now, I wish he dropped it.
No, I don't. we won. It was a great night.
We have like maybe the number 1 pick right now if he dropped it.
I don't care. I don't want the number 1 overall pick because they're gonna go Travis Hunter, and then I may lose my freaking mind.
He'd be the only one. He'd be the only one in the state of Texas losing his mind.
Yes, because
I'd be so happy with Hunter.
I love Travis Hunter, but I don't want the headache of where is he gonna play and is he gonna whine about not playing the right thing and da. I think he's a potential walking headache. I don't want to deal with it. Let him go somewhere else. No, give me like the 4th or 5th pick. Cause then Chase, trade back. Get out of that spot. Let a team that's desperate for a quarterback move up. That's what I want a top pick for. You know what? Yeah, give me the 1st overall pick and then trade it for a lot of other picks. That would be what I think, Chase. Trade that 1st round pick, that 1st overall pick, back to like 8. Dude, you could get multiple 1sts and 2nds and 3rds for somebody wanting a Travis Hunter or somebody wanting a Shedeur Sanders, like because they're idiots, or somebody wanting a Cam Ward. Oh, you could command a king's ransom like on the movie Draft Day, and it'd be a great situation for you.
Great scene.
Trade back. I don't care where you are. If you're in the top 10, trade out of it. Now, of course, if Banks or Campbell are there, take them. But if Chase, like I said, if you're at pick 8, trade back to 12 or 13 and somehow get Genty, dude, I'm doing laps and I'm pumping my fist like I'm Kurt Gibson in the '88 World Series. We're going to be high 5, and it's going to be a great night. You take him at 8, I just am like, okay, but what else are you going to do? Because this draft is, dude, the importance of this draft, because every draft's important. They don't sign anybody. So you miss on any of these first, second, or third round picks, you're not going to be a good team. It's automatic. You're not going to be good. Look at these last couple years where 2021, you hit on Micah. You have 4 picks in the top 3 rounds. You hit on 2 of them. You hit on Micah and you hit on Osa. Chauncey Golston's been kind of for a 3rd round pick, he's been a miss. For a 4th or 5th, he'd be a hit. And you missed on Kelvin Joseph, which I was completely wrong about. I wear that one, right? But 2022, you hit on Tyler Smith, and I cannot remember who you drafted, but then you miss. Sam Williams has been kind of a, but then you miss on
talented.
But then you miss on Tolbert in the 3rd round, puts you in a bad position. Last year, you've so far missed on Mozzie. It's early, but you've missed on Mozzie. You've missed on Schoonmaker, but you hit on Overshown. That's not a good ratio of hitting to missing.
Yeah.
If you're going 1 for 3, with the way the Cowboys build, it's a terrible way to do things. They need to be going at minimum 2 for 3, but really need to be going 3 for 3. And they're not right now, and that's frustrating. But all right,
we'll get to the draft, more draft stuff next semester.
Sorry, it's the only thing it's the only thing I can talk about.
Dude, I'm with
the Cowboys. That's happy.
I'm with you. I'm. All right, you understand. You understand why I want to lose.
Yes, I'm not saying I don't understand it. What I'm saying is it's a mentality I can't get into because I'm.
But then you're gonna be more upset at yourself after the season's over that they won games.
Yeah, I know.
So
Chase, you are right in this scenario. My competitiveness will not allow me to cheer for my team to lose. I just am not really cheering for them to win anymore. If you know that, if you know what I mean. Like I'm not really like when they do something good, I'm surprised instead of like, yeah, that's what it should be. Anyway, week 12, Steelers at Browns. Who you got?
Tomlin always has one of these trap games, and I feel like this is one of them. I'm gonna take the Steelers.
No, take the Browns, please. I need you to take the Browns.
I'm taking the Steelers, but I'm not going to be shocked if the Browns win this game.
Cowboys at Commanders. Go ahead and pencil you in there.
Commanders.
Chiefs at Panthers. Go ahead and pencil you in for the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
No, go Panthers, Chase. Have some win. What is
if
life?
The Chiefs are 10-0, I go Panthers.
What is life without whimsy? Vikings at Bears. I'm going to go ahead and pencil you in here for
Vikings.
Titans at Texans.
Texans.
It's a fun mouth, a little twister there. Lions at Colts.
Lions.
Can you give one where we can disagree here? Patriots at Dolphins.
Dolphins.
No, pick Drake May. Buccaneers at Giants. Come on, go with Tommy DeVito.
Buccaneers.
No. Broncos at Raiders.
Broncos.
Yeah. By the way, I've agreed. The reason I haven't talked is I'm agreeing with everything he says. Niners at Packers. Could disagree here.
Pack it, revenge.
You want Packers?
Going Pack.
All right, I'm going Niners.
Is that because you had to, or because you
No, I've got them all pinned in here.
Oh,
I'm not
you?
cheating.
Okay. No, I didn't know what you were doing.
Oh no,
it's not cheating for you. If it's only cheating for me if I go. Wait, you're going Niners. Let me go Niners.
No, it'd be cheating for me if I heard you say Packers and went, oh, you're going Packers. Well, I'm going Niners.
Give me Packers. I think they get a divisional round matchup. Revenge.
All right, here we go. Cardinals at Seahawks.
Cardinals.
All right, we have another disagreement here. I'm going Seahawks. Beat the Niners last week, build up momentum.
Cardinals coming off the bye as the number one, as the top ranked team in the West.
Eagles at Rams.
It's a must-win game for the Rams.
It is. But do you just?
I'm gonna go Eagles.
Yeah, I was with you there. Where I'm like,
it's gonna be a good game.
If the Rams win, I'm not surprised. But
yeah,
boy, I could really see But anyway, the Ravens at Chargers. I think we're gonna disagree here.
Ravens.
Yeah, I'm right. You know how you feel about the Broncos?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about the Chargers. I
like the Chargers team too.
So I'm going to Chargers. We disagree 3 times. Please.
I
need all 3 of these.
Keep him at it too.
I need all 3 to have a chance here. It's only week 12. We still got all these other weeks and the playoffs to potentially disagree. But there you go. There's your game picks.
Did we do this last year for the playoffs?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, I don't remember.
I always do it for the playoffs.
Okay, I don't remember.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week. Hopefully not having to. Well, we'll be back next week.
I don't know.
We'll decide on that. We may not be back next week.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Just in case we're not, if not, we'll have to recap another 2 weeks of things for the next week. So
Yeah.
we will talk to you guys either next week or when it's December.
Yeah. Have a good one.